Hi, so today we're going to talk about drawing parallel lines on the square grid. Of course, we can always use our set square, but if we're given a square grid, we can actually do it more quickly without a set square. So how do we do this? So for example, now I have this red line here, and I want to draw a line that is parallel to it. I can do so by counting the number of squares. So what does that mean? So first, when I look at a line, I'll look at the two endpoints. So now let's look at this endpoint down here. Let's say I want to move it 2 squares to the right. So I will count 1, 2. Okay. So I'll have 1 point here. And for the one at the bottom, 1, 2. So I know I will have 1 endpoint here. I would join these two. Endpoints. And now I have a pair of parallel lines. Okay, and take note that for parallel lines, we will use an arrow to indicate that they are parallel. Now, let's say I have a different line. So for example, I have this line. So I can do the same thing. I can move sideways. So for example, here I can move to the left by 1 or 2 squares. So if I move it 1 square, my first endpoint will be here. And my second endpoint will be here. Okay, that's if I move 1 square to the left. And when I join it, I will have something like this. Okay, but I don't only have to move sideways, I can move up and down as well. So for example, I want to move 1 square down. If I move 1 square down, this endpoint will be here, and the other endpoint will be here. Because I move 1 square down and 1 square down. If I join these two lines, join these 2 points, I now have a pair of parallel lines, and I'll indicate using an arrow. Okay, let's try a few more. So for example, if I have this line, I'm going to find a pair of parallel lines. So I need to draw another line that is parallel to it. Okay, now I will choose to move to the side by 1 square. So if I move to the side by 1 square, this one will end up here. This one will end up here. And I can join it together. Okay, then I'll draw the arrows. Okay, and let's try one last line. If now I have a horizontal line, so what does a line that's parallel to a horizontal line look like? Okay, it will be horizontal as well. But take note, we won't draw our line in the middle of the square like this because it looks very messy. What we will do is we will draw it on the grid lines. So we will draw it like this and add arrows. Take note that your arrows don't have to be pointing in a specific direction as long as both arrows are pointing in the same direction.